All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Now Morning Show here on TTT. Now we're going to have a conversation with Zakia Uzoma Wadada, who's the Executive Director of the Emancipation Support Committee. And we're going to talk about the Emancipation Village and, the final preparations as we lead right into Emancipation tomorrow. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thanks for being here again.
Good morning to your audience. Good morning to everybody who looks so beautiful this morning. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We really tried.
You did a good job.
Well, I can't take the credit for it. Rishi actually chose this.
Okay, and, Richie, I'll go shopping with you next year. Yes.
All right. So, so tomorrow is Emancipation Day.
It is.
We're really looking forward to the culmination of the celebrations and everything that it means.
Yes.
What has it taken up to this point, and what will it take moving into tomorrow?
Tomorrow we celebrate the 181st anniversary of emancipation. From my voice, you can have a sense of what it takes. Hard work, sacrifice, sleepless nights, and also working with very minimal resources. So we count on the generosity and the spirit of commitment of so many people, our service providers, the young people who are part of our staff, all our entrepreneurs, all the artists. The festival involves such a vast amount of people, and I really want to use this opportunity to thank them all. And then, of course, tomorrow is when the different communities, so we are bringing people from all different communities in Trinidad and Tobago, while we come together to celebrate our history, to remember the challenges of our ancestors, and also to, I suppose, to commit ourselves to continue that struggle, because, we're in the 5th year of the decade for people of African descent, where the issues of recognition, justice, and development for African people still remain critical issues,
Definitely.
That's why our theme for this year, in the 5th year of the decade, is pursuing recognition, justice, and development. Recognition, justice, and development being the theme for the decade, UN decade for International Decade for People of African Descent. So we really want people, as we celebrate, and we want to celebrate, we really want to have a good time, but we also want to remember that we have some serious issues on our agenda, and this pursuit of recognition, justice, and development for African people, not only here in Trinidad and Tobago, but worldwide, remains a serious international issue.
Definitely. So more than just a celebration, but many things to be addressed. And a discussion to be had, how to move the people forward.
That's right. That's right.
Because coming from that background where Africans were enslaved, there are still systems in place today that affect the African diaspora negatively.
Right. Oh, yes. And you see, and it's not only in the systems, it is also the whole, remember, there's now this understanding of the post-trauma. And some persons are still impacted by that, because after you would have experienced 400 years of a particular type of, oppression and so on, and we are only, the emancipation took place 181 years ago, which is less than half of the time that oppression took place. It is even true from generation to generation. There's going to be impacts from that, and therefore we have to continue to not only view what is happening with African persons worldwide. When we look at our young people and we sometimes we just, we don't understand why their behavior is so concerning. Why are the African youth so in the society having challenges? We have to understand, it's like a mom, a mother. Some of my children had a bad experience. Some of my children went through a rough time, so I have to take special care of them.
Yes.
And I do not think that we have come to that understanding that this group in the society, the Africans in our society, went through a real traumatic and horrible life experience, their ancestors. And from generation to generation, this can continue to impact people's behavior, their sense of self, their understanding of yourself, a total disconnection of who you are. So your language, your culture.
What would you say it would take to bring them to that realization of self and the recognition of self?
Yes.
What would you think?
Like when I look on TV this morning and I see we are telling the history of Henry Sylvester Williams and his greatness, when we begin to tell our young people of their true history, that there were Africans came out of empires and really properly organized communities and their contribution to civilization. We were not just enslaved people.
Right.
You understand? And if they understand, you understand the importance of Africans in the world, in the sense of the world, and the contribution to world development, you know, the science, the mathematics, I mean, the building of those fantastic architecture, you know, pyramids, and how we, you know, we were the first people to do so many things. If people understand their history, then that's something I can feel proud about. Definitely. You know, I came out of that. But if my history is, okay, you are a slave, you know, and we don't understand our greatness, then we don't believe that we are great. We are just children of slaves, that kind of sense. So therefore, I think our knowledge of our history, knowledge of our understanding with our connection with the universe, how do we as human beings relate, you know? And Africans had a real, because we were the first peoples on the earth, we had a special understanding of man's space in the universe and that connection with nature and all of those things. And therefore, how human beings should be. You know, some people are saying that Africans are spiritual beings who are having a human experience.
Right.
You know, I'm very interested. That's a quote from Dr. Anthony Browner, who was here this year.
Yes.
And I always find it such a powerful statement. You know, so people always say why we did not react differently to this whole process of enslavement. And people did fight, we did struggle, but we are not evil, if you understand what it is I'm saying. And therefore, Africans never tried to conquer anywhere else. If you really look at you know, the history of African people.
Definitely always need to have more of that history exposed to the wider public.
Most definitely. So we learn to love ourselves, appreciate ourselves, know that we have value, you know, because the society is really, the trend of the world is, you know, is that, you know, human beings are becoming less and less important. After yesterday, we were talking about how the importance of relationships between ourselves. It's dying.
And you know, this technology is a broad conversation.
I know we can
speak about forever and ever. But Zakia,
education is important.
Yes, definitely important. I want to thank you for joining us this morning and you know, edifying us with the knowledge that you have and sharing. And I hope we could have more conversations about this topic later on as well. But for now, we have to take a short break.
And I just congratulate TTT on the work that they have been doing for emancipation. It's the first time in the history of our celebration that we have had this kind of time dedicated to the celebration. And I really want to thank you all very, very much for this fine work that you have done. You have set an extremely important trend, and I hope others have seen it and will follow.
I want to thank you as well, Zakia.
You're welcome.
All right, I've been chatting with Zakia Uzoma-Wadada, Executive Director of the Emancipation Support Committee. We take a short break and we come right back. Stay with us.